thought-provoking podcast that sheds light on the challenges faced by young people living in urban areas. We highlight the resilience and creativity of young leaders who are finding innovative ways to overcome the challenges our young people are facing, inspiring listeners to take action to support them. This is A Different Cloth.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to A Different Cloth podcast. We are a podcast where we aim to inspire, empower, and equip the next generation of leaders, dreamers, and change makers who aim to make an impact beyond the norm. We're so excited that you're here. If you are here, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe, follow, whatever else you got to do, but tag along the journey with us. We can't wait to hear from you and get connected with you. As always, I got a really dope host to my left. All the way from the mean streets of Menifee now. So shout out to Angel. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited about this season, man, because I feel like our guests have been just super dope. They all got really powerful stories. But really the whole point of this are people that are making an impact in the world that they're in. And our guest today is nothing short of that. He is a rapper, author, speaker, leader, pastor extraordinaire, super creative. Always a good time hanging out with him. But I want to try to welcome Courtney, aka SunWhoa.
Yeah. Praise the Lord, saints.
What name do you go by in context like this? Is it the artist name or is it Courtney?
Man, honestly, it's been the journey of my life. I feel like no one calls Jay-Z Sean Carter, but so I'm trying to tell people, like, call me SunWhoa, but then it's like, I always like, Courtney SunWhoa, like, I just don't know.
You started off with a bad foot.
But SunWhoa love.
SunWhoa. Yeah. All right, SunWhoa. Mm-hmm. All right, real quick, I'm going to dive all the way in. I asked you earlier, they told me to wait till the podcast to ask the question. But first, actually, hold on. Let me back up. I gotta tell myself our introduction to each other, which is horrible. Yeah. When I moved out here, there was a lot of people that was doing Christian hip hop in the Inland Empire here specifically. And you weren't necessarily really in the IE, but you were around, right? So, and I just remember I used to get really irritated at how corny a lot of it was. Like, it didn't sound good. It wasn't high quality. There was bad cadence. It was just not good. And I remember my first interaction with SunWhoa. I don't know why I said what I said, but I was just like, I don't really rock with a lot of local rappers out here.
He disliked me before he even met me, basically.
And I don't know that I fully I didn't almost didn't even give him a chance. But honestly, you showed up, and I don't remember where we were.
Yeah, it was like supporting Jacobed. I came to see Hop.
Yeah.
It was in LA somewhere.
But he was fire. And I was like, I can rock with this guy. It was dope. So anyway, just quick. But then, all right, now the Black Samurai. Yeah. Okay. Give me the context of that. I know that was heavy in your music and in the album that I know I listened to quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Why that? Is something unique out the box?
From Shaolin.
From the Shaolin style. I grew up on just Kung Fu. I took Taekwondo for 7 years.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
What belt are you?
I'm senior blue belt.
Okay.
Stopped to play basketball. I had NBA dreams, Yeah. This is going to be a mess.
This is going to be fun, bro.
But, I watched Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Bruce Lee, you know what I mean? Really grew up in that world, It was something that I always loved. And then one day I had a conversation with God and I was asking God, how come you love some people more than you love me? This is after I got saved. Huh. And I was driving in Pomona and I remember right by the DMV. And then he said, I see you like the sun. I know you by name, right? I know you by name and I see you like the sun. And I was just like, wow. And it took me back because so much of my story was based on the Father gifting people and loving people more than he loved me, right? Or other people choosing people more than they chose me. And then that was the initial seed that God deposited in me, that I see you like the sun and I know you by name. And then the next, maybe within that week, within the next 7 days, I woke up one day and the first thing I heard when I woke up was SunWhoa, Black Samurai, And that was from that point forward. Before I had a bunch of other rap names like B.E.'s himself, Vibe. Like my first name was Vibe because I used to write hook. Or first name was Hooks because I used to write all the hooks in our group. I was in a rap group called The Circuit.
Okay.
And I used to write all the hooks. Then it turned into Vibe because it was like singing on hooks. Then I was like rapping. And then it turned into B.E.'s himself. And then that name right there, it was like a lot of like ambiguity with my name. And then that name, SunWhoa, was just like clarity. There was no other name aside from that, but you know, for the rest of my life, like that's gonna be my name for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And then Black Samurai, Samurai, I come to find out, means servant of the Lord, and that's like the literal definition of what it means to be a samurai. It's to be a servant of the Lord, handy with the sword. You know.
Okay.
And so even just the way that samurais will commit, if you ever seen the show Shogun, but they would rather die to themselves before dishonoring the Lord. So there's a lot of nuances in where samurai comes from. But that's part of it for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all of that, because it's funny, like, you know, I feel like people come up with like rap names from all types of different like situation settings. Sometimes just fun. Sometimes it's like what you do good.
Yeah.
Like that was like not only like profound but deep. Like that's like to me that communicates so much of like what I've experienced God doing in and through you. Through your ministry and through your creativity.
Thank you.
And so just it's crystal clear.
Yeah.
And so but I actually didn't know the backstory to that. So
you just thought I was on it. Like,
I did. I just thought maybe you like Kung Fu or something. It was like SunWhoa was like what came out of that. But like honestly, like that's man, that's fire. And I'm excited about the impact that you already have been making in that context. And man, it just makes me want to like cheer you on more.
Thank you.
Are you into anime?
I'm like, I would say I'm into anime, but if I talk to people who are really into anime, I'm like a newbie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I watch.
I'm not into anime.
Like Avatar.
He don't get it. He get tight.
Yeah.
They love talking anime around here. I was like, nope.
Like y'all would bring up some shows. I'm like, nah, I've never seen that, bro. But I've seen,
Naruto?
of course, like that's what I'm saying. I've seen the classics. Naruto, I watched from start to finish. Amazing, love the show. But Avatar, I'm just a big Avatar fan.
All right, so you
Even though
mentioned
it's not anime, I'm clear on that. But
you mentioned when you got saved and you came to the Lord, you asked the Lord, why do you love others more than me? What was that coming to Christ moment like? What's the story behind like how you found faith, or did you grow up in the church, or?
My grandpa is a bishop. It's funny, on my dad's side, my dad's father is a bishop of was a bishop of the CME Church, senior bishop, and then my mom's grandfathers, one was a pastor and one built the church. So on both, so I didn't know this until like maybe a couple of years. So there's definitely a legacy of ministry. But my dad is a musician and my mom's a singer. They both moved to LA from St. Louis and like Atlanta, DC, right? So you know, just touring musicians.
Yeah.
Both of them are touring musicians. That's all they've ever done in my life, just music.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up in the church. Like I got baptized at Faithful Central Christian or whatever at Faithful Central when I was little. And had some season in the church in elementary school, but like really aside from that, I was not in the church. I definitely didn't have a foundation of faith of who Jesus is in my life until my dad doesn't mind if I share a story. He just tells me don't share my business, you know, but share my story, not my business. So my dad, you know, he had an addiction. And then when my parents got divorced, the addiction got like way worse. Like he was really heartbroken by the possibility of just being separated from his family. And so it got worse. And I kind of separated from both my parents. Like I pulled back a lot. But as he spiraled down this road, the addiction got worse. And one of my pastors, Pastor Jean Birch, she invited, through Tracy Bailey, invited my dad to play keys at this church, Community Bible Church in Pasadena. And he was on cocaine for the whole like 3 days, hasn't slept in like a whole week, something crazy like that, right? Just up, wired. Goes to play at the church, and my pastor prophesied that he would be set free, delivered, and clean. And my dad had a desire to be clean before my grandpa passed. So that set the journey off of him being clean, and he was still playing at that church, and he would bring me to the church. And I would sit in the front row. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would just be weeping because I would just feel the presence of God. Like,
how old were you?
I was probably like 21.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
You know, 20, a little bit older maybe, but probably like around that, 22, something like that.
Wow.
I'm just weeping though, because I'm out here living however I want to live. You know, I was in a group called The Circuit. We called ourselves the Bandits. So whatever you imply from that, right? Like just my mind was very different. My moral code, I didn't really have one. You know, all the things you could kind of think about. So I would just be processing what I'm feeling the Holy Spirit like put pressure on me. And I'm like, God, this is too holy and I'm too far from holiness.
Yeah.
It was just a clear disconnect. And so I started writing in my journal and started asking God to show me who he is. And I asked God, please, if you're real, give me a testimony. And then 7 days later, I got into a car accident on the 10 freeway getting off Indian Hill with that 18-wheeler. I didn't have a seatbelt on. An airbag didn't come out, but I hopped out my window without a scratch on me. Sheesh. So a car battery got stuck in my tire, and it threw me back into the freeway. And the 18-wheeler came this way, and I ran right into the 18-wheeler. And everybody who saw it hopped out. Like, I thought you were for sure dead. I thought there was no way you could have lived. And that was just the testimony first that didn't really, it just showed me that, okay, God is present. God is listening.
Wow.
God is really here. And then from there, a long journey took place where I came to find Jesus. I still didn't believe in Jesus. I thought he was the white man's God, you know. Yeah. And I was reading the Quran. I was going to the temple. I was going to the mosque, reading Hare Krishna books, Buddhist books, everything but the Bible. And I was sitting in a new members class at my church. And the pastor was like, the Bible is the only true living word. And I was like, I disagree. I think that...
You like told him you disagree?
I told him. I said, I disagree. I think there's a lot of holy books. You know, he said, no, the Bible is Pastor Ricky. He was like, no, it's the Bible. And I was like, all right, bet. So then I went home and I started reading the Bible. And I just got, you know, had an interaction with God, encounters with God where it was just like, oh, okay. So I just got to, when I finally read I read the Gospels last, well, you know, and by the time I got to John, I was like, just weeping. Wow. Yeah, just very different understanding who Jesus was and who the Bible is, or what the Bible is to me.
Yeah. I didn't know, I didn't know much of that, but the way your brain works and your curiosity and just the way you like retain information, it makes sense why you're in the educational world now, because like, you're such a learner and like a teacher, like, and not like in a teacher context, but like you have information that you can like help other people understand. What was that journey like for you to get into the educational world that you're in? Because you're not like in a school right now or anything like that, but you do work with schools and educators. And so tell us a little bit about that journey. How'd you get into that?
So it's all connected. Okay. Like my dad going to Pasadena and me going to Pasadena, it kind of like reset a lot of my life. And then I started teaching music production in what they call, some people call it the snake pits, call it community arms. I started teaching music production in community arms, and like really fell in love with the city and started teaching there. And then I ended up teaching, working with kids at Washington Middle School, which was like a school right by Jackie Robinson Park, if you're familiar with it.
Is Jackie Robinson Park out here?
I mean, sorry, La Pintoresca Park. Yeah, Jackie Robinson in Pasadena. Yeah, He's from Pasadena. He actually went to Washington Middle School.
Oh, fire!
Yeah. So I didn't know that. So I started working with the kids at that school, and got a part of this thing called Freedom Schools that took me to Knoxville, Tennessee, and from there it just changed my life. Went to Knoxville, Tennessee with like thousands of educators, you know, young majority black educators. And first time I saw myself in the educational field. Okay. And I was like, wow. And that kind of like shifted everything for me. Yeah. In terms of education.
Yeah. How do you navigate the tension between like the call to ministry? Because you can tell even in your answers here, there's such a deep love for Jesus and like you wanting to serve him and others through him. Yeah. And education, because those two don't always mix well. Sure. And so how do you navigate that balance between the two of those?
You know, I think of it like Proverbs. Like I'm a big fan of the book of Proverbs. Yeah. And just biblical wisdom doesn't have to always be like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Okay. So just giving biblical wisdom, because if they have wisdom, then it'll help keep them on a track that they can, like, where they don't sell their birthrights, if that makes sense. Like, if I could keep you on a track where you could eventually be found, then you have more of a chance of Jesus reaching you before you sell something that's really not yours to sell. But I don't know. I'm just myself. I just try to be myself, man.
Glad that you said that.
Yeah.
Who is Courtney? I know you have so many like layers to you. He said a bunch of like your resume. He threw it out there, right? Yeah. Everything you do. But off rip, you seem like a man. Well, we haven't spoken much, right?
Yeah.
So you seem like a man of much wisdom, right? So like,
thank you.
Who is, like, I don't want to say someone. Who is Courtney?
Who is SunWhoa?
That's your next album title, brother.
Nah, it's funny. I said Sun who? That's part of. Anyways,
I thought you was gonna say when you was talking about son. God gave me son. You was like, whoa.
Nah. He told me to shine like whoa, and tell others, encourage others to do the same. But who is Courtney? Man, the Lord gave me, I hate to, I can only be myself, you know what I'm saying? But he gave me bold, unashamed, intentional, love driven. So that's my clothing brand, stands for, it's Build, BUILD. But, I'm bold, unashamed, intentional, love driven. And I'm really finding more about what that means. Like, even bold has been it's been a season of boldness for me. Because current season, yeah. Because like learning how, I guess in this current season, I'm learning how to be more bold. Like there's been a lot of areas of my life where I allow myself to feel powerless, allowing other people to dictate what I do based on the circumstances, making sure that the circumstances are perfect. And, if this isn't right, then I can't say this or whatever. Or like afraid to ask requests, afraid to ask people like, hey, I need this from you, And
why afraid?
Probably because that like thought of like, do I deserve, the fear of disappointment. It's not even a deserve thing. It's more of like, if they say no, they're gonna confirm what I already think, that they won't show up for me.
And I also hear the concept of like others are loved more than you.
Exactly,
right? Like,
100%. So it just feeds back into that same like fear of vulnerability. Because to ask somebody something means that you're giving them an opportunity to say no. True. And like disappoint you. So just coming into that, like, but that's who I am. And like fundamentally, I believe bold, unashamed, intentional, love driven. So just as I'm growing, as I mature, then I get more, I tap into that more.
Do you have any siblings?
I have a little sister.
Okay. How's that dynamic?
That's like my little heart. That's, that's like we started best friends, one of like, started from since she was in the womb. I can say I'm older. I'm like 6.5 years older.
Oh, fire.
But it's kind of what we experienced growing up. We just shared so many shared experiences. Yeah. That it's like, I'm able to empathize. We're able to empathize with each other in a different way.
Yeah. With your education background, right, and working in the school system. I know Jose told me you wrote a book for young kids.
Yeah, so I wrote a children's book called One Red Cent.
One red cent?
One Red Cent. Yeah.
Which we'll plug on here when this drops.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also put an album out called Professor Woe Blackboard Volume 1.
I was gonna get into that part too, because I want to hear all about that.
Hey, man. Yeah. So the book is really kind of similar to what Jose was saying, just like the thought of not being good enough. So it came when I was in the classroom. I was sitting in the class, in the kindergarten, first grade class, because I ended up being a teacher. And I was co-teaching with another teacher, and she was talking to all the kids about money, like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, or whatever. And she got to pennies, and she said, pennies just aren't worth much. We don't really deal with pennies. Like, no one really wants pennies. And my mind started going like, pennies are a different color. Quarters are silver, dimes silver, nickel silver, pennies are bronze. Pennies are less valuable. They're seen as less. And the Lord just dropped this idea to write a book from the perspective of a penny. About about feeling less than,
Wow.
And then in the book is a line that says, but one day I met a man with skin bronze like mine, talking about Jesus. And Jesus basically pursues this penny. He looks under the shoe, he looks in the TV, he looks under the couch, and then finds the penny.
Come on, talk that Bible talk. that is in the scripture.
It's a children's book. Yeah.
You have this book in your car?
I got 2 kids, man. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah, for sure.
That's
Oh man. That's like, you're deep, bro. Like,
Man,
Lord, just like the thoughts are like, then again, like you talk about all types of people, especially in the world, and I'm like, because there's so many like layers to it. That's why like even the like I met a man with skin bronze like mine.
Yeah.
And then he was searching for the penny.
Man.
That's in the book. Like,
he's the 99 to find the one.
Come on, that's in the book. That's why I'm like, yeah.
I'm asking a bunch of questions.
Good. Let's go.
All right. So you spoke a little bit about the insecurities, right? You spoke a little bit about the knowledge. How do you fight that tension of creating healthy habits for yourself? Especially when you see another younger person in the school that may have like almost like the same vibe as you, essentially. Like, how do you maintain that balance, or not necessarily balance, but the healthy lifestyle?
Let me get clear on the question. You said the healthy lifestyle if I see someone who reminds me of myself, or?
Yeah, well, because it's a 2-part question, right? Because I know in order for us to speak into young people, we have to be healthy ourselves, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then, you're very vulnerable with sharing what affects you. Yeah. But then you're also like the way you came up with this red penny thing. Yeah. Like you're talking crazy. You know what I mean? It's solid. Yeah. So like, how do you, like most people I've met with such a creative mind, also like struggle with crashing and just being like, man, there's just a lot on me.
Great point.
The more the brain goes creatively or whatever, it's just like more fatigue that I've met that way. So how do you stay healthy? And then like, how does that translate into being healthy for younger people?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think my biggest challenge right now is, like you said, finding balance, like with my home, like my wife, and just really prioritizing the things that are first for me. Because that creates a healthier lifestyle for me in general. Yeah. Learning how to do that. Because, you're single, you could just like, you running, you have an idea, I'm running towards it. And just learning how to like, okay, use wisdom in that area and pull back sometimes. But also, I'm really like, as much as I do, people say like, you need to slow down, this and that, slow down. I'm like, I try to do everything from a place of rest first. Like, I really do. Like, I'm like, yeah, I came here, had to wake up this morning. There's plenty of things to do, but it's like, the Lord is gonna do what He's gonna do. I'm at, like, we're at rest. We already at rest. I'm already seated in heavenly places. So I get to be at rest, and everything I do work from a place of rest. My burden is light, my yoke is easy. So I really try to do that when I have fun, when I go talk to kids, or when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, just trying to do it from a place of rest. Like, it's not me trying to work through something. I just want to be, chilling. It's that West Coast. Yeah. Real West Coast energy.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for that. I want to go, I don't want to, we're going to stay in the creative space, but Professor SunWhoa, what I saw from my angle, I'll tell you what I saw from my angle. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, you were doing some type of tutoring type stuff with hip hop for students. Which I think elementary school students. Yeah. Tell us about that, like, and what inspired that, and like, what was the impact you got to see with that? Like, like, what was the difference that made?
Man, it didn't start like that. It started just, I was teaching 4th and 5th grade in Altadena Arts Magnet. I had a 4th and 5th combo class, and then the next year I had a 4th grade class. So I was just teaching. And this was the way that I was teaching my kids through rap. So we would talk about the 8 parts of speech. Like, a verb is an action word, like rappers sing. A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. Adjectives are used to describe a noun, like beautiful, intelligent, black, and brown. Wow, whoa, oops, oh my. Interjections are words of surprise. A pronoun is a noun, but basic, he, she, him, her, or they are replacements, So we went through the whole thing. So that's what I'm using.
You came up with that?
Yeah. So, a preposition.
Yo, check it.
We gonna do when I was in school, my guy.
You know, and that's what I was thinking.
Yo,
like,
science, math.
Like I have a song about the scientific method, about like the parts of speech, Black history. So this was just the way that I was teaching, and then COVID hit, so it just rapidly took over my whole classroom. I mean, my whole school year, and now all of a sudden I'm getting on Zoom.
Pun intended. Rapidly.
Took over the whole school year, and then we got on Zoom, and I started noticing that kids weren't signing in, they weren't taking showers, they weren't doing anything except playing video games and chilling.
Right.
And so I came up with this song called Wiggle Dance. It's like, feeling good, I'm feeling great. I brush my teeth and wash my face. I'm about to shake the sleep off and do my wiggle dance. I'm about to shake the sleep off and do my wiggle dance. So that was really for the COVID era. And then from that, I was like, I'm just about to put the whole project out, take all the music that I was doing in my classroom, put it in an album, and then give it to the kids. So I think the best thing that came from that is, for me, one of my favorite songs is a song called Ashe. But it's just an affirmation, that it's a daily affirmation. And it goes, I am ready to learn. I am ready to grow. I plant good seeds and I reap what I sow. I am unique. I am special. I am prepared for the day. I have purpose and love and I am wonderfully made. Ashe. And so kids could listen to that every single day. Parents could play that every day. So to me, that's been the most fruitful thing from that project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you introduce?
I'm a fan.
No,
I'm a fan.
Oh, facts.
I'm a fan.
Telling you, like,
Bless the Lord.
Facts.
I'm a fan.
Facts.
Praise God.
Like you're
Most people I speak to, I know already, so it's just like, all right, we're having this conversation
For the first time, yeah.
But now I'm like, yo, this is really cool. I'm trying to keep from smiling, like, yo, this guy's good, man. And the minds, man. No, I'm joking.
Cut that from the record.
That is hilarious.
No, man.
That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'm a fan for sure.
Yeah. No, that's it. School districts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did they buy into it and like did they want to include it?
You know, not the way that I wish happened, but I also have been working with another organization called All It Takes, and I've seen what it looks like to multiply. Even looking at RAG, I'm like, this is the model of what it looks like to multiply and scale.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't ready to scale.
Sure.
You know, as much as I wanted to be, and I wanted to be in the school districts, but that scalability is like, it's a different level of leadership.
Amen.
You know, it's a different level of leadership. And I'm learning, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Let's stay there for a second because, you know, when I think leaders, dreamers, change makers, you know, everybody has that dream of you want to blow up and you want to do the big thing and you want to do all the stuff, right? And how do you know you're not ready? Like what makes you feel like you're not ready? Because I imagine people are listening or watching this and they may have this big thing in their heart and the self-awareness to know that I'm not ready for that yet. I think that's wisdom. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it comes like in hindsight more than anything. So I would encourage people like, hey, go for it like you're ready, and then you'll be exposed, and then you see your blind spots, and then you feel the blind spots. But just pursue it. Like I would pursue it as if like I'm ready, and then the Lord will make sure that it's like David, like kill a draw, you kill the things, then eventually you kill Goliath. Yeah. But you had to do the other things first.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I feel like even when I look at our growth trajectory, and I tell people this all the time, it wasn't because we, strategic plan this massive like growth or inflection. It was like there was an open door and we just walked through it. Like that was literally like how it all happened. And God was faithful to meet us as we walked through it, right? Like there was so much but 3 years later, like it's hard. Like, you know what I mean? Because you just don't know what you don't know. And so, this year, like even last year, when this comes out, it'll be last year, man, probably the hardest year we've had as an organization in real life.
Wow. Because
there's so much that you just don't know as you walk through those big open doors.
Yeah.
So that's why I really respect that, like, well, I might not be ready, but also I don't hear you say like sit on your hands and like twiddle your thumbs and just be like, well, we're waiting on the Lord. Like, like you said, go for it, and then if it don't open, there's probably a reason why, and kind of being able to look hindsight.
Like, faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna have hope, and I'm gonna make action that is evidence of my hope and my faith.
Yeah.
But the Lord basically is the one who gives. I mean, it says the Lord gives increase. So it's not any of us who give increase, but all we can do is water it. So, but I want to say personally, like, I just had a brief emotional overwhelmed moment, just looking at you, man, and thinking about how far you've come. You know, it's just really a blessing. And to me, you've really inspired me, like, and encouraged me, because every time I call, I'm like, hey, bro, I need a template. You know, give me some insight. You know what I mean? And you've always done that, bro. So I appreciate you,
bro.
I appreciate you.
Man, you got me choked up on here. Real. That's you know what I mean? Bro.
Angel, I didn't know you, bro.
No, bro.
But Jose,
but
Jose, man, it's a beautiful thing to see.
You're good, bro.
It's a beautiful thing to see, bro.
Thank you, man. I mean, look, the wild part is this. If there was anybody that I feel like could do this at the level we are, it's you. Like in real life, that's not me like gassing you. That's not me like, you know, and you know me well enough to know I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't fully like believe that. Like, and so like, man, it's actually like a joy and an honor. Like when I do get those calls from you, and it's like, oh yeah, easy. Like, and honestly, because somebody did the same thing for me, right?
Yeah.
I didn't create all this on my own. For sure. So like, I try to, you know, kick game where I can, or like introduce people to stuff where I can, because like, man, outside of somebody like sitting me down and saying, yo, here's how you write a proposal. Yeah. We would have never had a proposal. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of that was brand new information to me. So no, this is fire, man. Let's talk about Bethlehem.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. You're in a.
What's Bethlehem?
I'm about to tell you right now.
It's a game changer.
I had another question based on what you just said, but we'll go back.
You're in a busy week right now because you have this like major performance this weekend, which your family should probably go if y'all are
free tickets.
I got you
in Pasadena.
You have to pay for the book though. Pay for the book.
But explain Bethlehem because it's been 3 years now.
Yeah, it's our third year.
Third year going, and from the outside looking in, it's a hit, bro. Man, like this thing is taking off. Man, so explain it. What is Bethlehem?
So I'm the program director at Harambe Ministries now, but I used to be the youth director under Pastor John DeCure and Pastor Albert Tate. And Albert had an idea that they did at Fellowship some years back called Bethlehem Hamilton. And they did they did the Bethlehem Hamilton play. It was all adults, and they used mostly like Christmas songs. It was cool though. It was a good play. Yeah. And he was like, I want to bring Bethlehem Hamilton to Harambe, right, where I work. So he shot that was the concept, and I had like a month. It was like, this was in September. Yeah. Christmas in December. So I had very little time. So I started cooking, and I took what they had, and I was like, I only used one song written by Mark Chase and Marquet and Asan and them. And I used that song as a shepherd song. But everything else, man, I started writing these songs, and I wrote the story of Bethlehem in a musical, an original hip hop musical. So it starts off with the song called Prepare the Way, and then it goes to Mary, Did You Know? Then it goes to like this song. It starts off with Zech Knows Best. So Zechariah has his encounter with the angel. And it's like, but Zech still knows best. Zech still knows best. So it's like his response to the angel, right? And it just tells the whole Christmas story in a original hip hop musical. It's 14 songs, and I wrote 13 of them. Wow. And produced a lot of it with alongside. My dad produced one song. Kevin Randolph produced a number of songs. Pastor John DeCure was a co-producer on some songs, and so we just created like something special, honestly. Yeah, and now
for kids,
it's primarily kids acting, but it's not a kids production. So like I didn't dumb down any lyrics. I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be a movie, you know. So I wanted to be a movie one day. So when I wrote it, I didn't write it with kids in mind. You know what I mean? and so it's all so kids are like Almighty Herod. There's a scene called Almighty Herod, and it starts off like, King Herod, it is I, super duper fly, the most proficient, magnificent, just short of omnipotent, opulent, prominent, 2 vowels, 3 consonants. Anyone with common sense should know to pay me compliments. You know, and like that's his interaction with the wisdoms, with the Magi, right? And then so it's like it's just the Bible story, man. But it's like I'm blown away. Honestly, I'm just like, Lord, you are something else, and I'm just honored to be able to be a part of it and play my part in it. And now it's just taking it to the next level. But we have 2 shows on Saturday. We have one at 12 and one at 6:30. Pack out the house. So
wow,
it's gonna be crazy. It's about 50 kids. 50 kids in play.
12 and 6:30 on Saturday. I know this will be later, but
December 21st.
I'll
crazy.
12 o'clock.
I'll get with Eric.
Yeah,
and we'll pull up too.
Thank you.
That's fire.
Yeah,
man. What's the big dream on your heart right now? Like, there's a lot of, like, I feel like they say a lot of irons in the fire, right? Like, it feels like that right now. You got like this, and then you got this, and then you got this, and this. Like, but man, what's the just dream that God's placed on your heart for this next season of your life, or the big dream that you know, like, this will only happen if God does what He does here?
Yeah, I'm getting back to that even more so, like, just the impossible, just like what's impossible, you know. But the tenets for me, all under like worship and ministry, is music, film, and education. So those 3 things will always be like pillars of what I do. Yeah. And they all, to me, integrate. So I have an album that's already pretty done. I mean, for the most part, it's done. I just have to put the final touches on it. It's called Court. And it's called Court. There you go. So
who's Courtney?
Court.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking about a case.
And that's really what it is. But it's a double entendre. And then so music, film, and education. So I want to make Bethlehem a movie. You know, I want it to be a full-length film. Put this album out, get a Grammy, and then really just reach as many people through education. Like, we do a program called Power Talk, do a program called Build University, just really stay connected.
Yeah. Build University off the brand?
Yeah. So Build University, we take a group of high school kids and we do a 10-week course of just entrepreneurial life skill stuff. Like last year, I had them do a day called Build Community Day, where they have to create a community event. And it's like a cohort of about 12 to 15 kids or high school students. And they did a community day where we reached out to some foster homes in the city, Pasadena, and they came through to Harambe and turned up, put on the whole day, had them in the studio recording, making beats, writing poetry, writing raps, you know, playing games outside. It was a lot of fun, but it was all led by students. Yeah. So just keeping it going.
Wow.
Expansion, multiplication.
You mentioned, man, I messed up the mic. So you mentioned the impossible, right? Mm-hmm. And then all the stuff you're doing. You did speak about your wife briefly for a bit. We have a lot of listeners who are also. I'm getting choked up. We're crazy right now. I'm itching.
It's that bowl of oregano.
You mentioned we have a lot of listeners who are also youth leaders too, or like pastors, young pastors, young leaders. How's the relationship with your wife with all of these things? Like, how? So for me, my first 5 years of marriage was very heavy because I was like full throttle. Like you know, you guys are saying like West Coast very laid back.
Yeah.
East Coast is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's how many things you can do, how much money you can make. It's all about the hustle.
Yeah.
And it really affected my marriage because we were just doing too much. I was just doing too much. And then when we had our firstborn, I was barely home. Like, oh, we got to get it. And then she's like, well, you got to help me. And then obviously we hit a wall. You know what I mean? So speak about, if you can, speak about like how do you keep the marriage healthy? How do you keep ministry healthy at the home? Yeah. Like knowing with everything that you have going on and stuff like that. How do you make the home a priority?
Yeah. That's something I'm absolutely learning for sure. And we just hit 4 years. Shout out to my wife. What up, babe?
Congrats.
And so that's something that we've definitely talked about and that comes up often. But I'm excited to say that she's a coach on Bethlehem, so she's integrated into that, like, and she is leading scenes and doing casting and doing all the stuff on Bethlehem. So we get to work together. But for me, it's learning how to say no too. I'm learning how to say no more.
Yeah.
Like having just that same thing, because I do have that too, like that desire. Like I gotta go get it. It's too much out here. I gotta go do what I can do, but from a place of rest still. But I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Right.
But just realizing that she needs me more than like the world needs me.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah.
And just coming to that realization and revelation of like, yeah, I gotta do better in that area. Just being present, being home, saying no to stuff, like in my own comfort or in my own habits or my rhythms, just creating new rhythms that really benefit our house. Yeah.
Yeah, I love just the inclusiveness of her in what's happening with you. Also, I think that does carry a lot of value, at least in mine and Erica's relationship. The fact that we get to do so much together. Now, you do still got to be careful to draw the lines and boundaries to not take work home.
Yeah,
and that sometimes can be tough because we work together. So it's like it's really easy to let the conversation keep carrying on at home, and so that takes a little bit of like some discipline. But I'm also guilty of like maybe overworking or putting more emphasis on like rag or the things that we're doing than I do sometimes on a date night or like the emphasis and energy that I'm giving.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I resonate with that, and I also have found a lot of value in the inclusiveness of it all. Like, hey, we're in this together. It's not just me doing the thing. Vision. Like, and so I just appreciate that answer. What does it mean to you to be cut from a different cloth?
That's good. I didn't know that was the name of the podcast till like right now. I'll be watching y'all on Instagram though.
Hey, shout out to Instagram.
To be cut from a different cloth, what comes to my mind is just like being grafted in. So like, I don't know where this is gonna go as I'm saying it, but like, it's like the adoption. To me, that's what it means. Like I'm cut from a different cloth, and I'm stitched onto like a holy cloth. So like my original cloth wasn't where I'm at right now, but I got grafted and adopted in. So that's one thing that it means. The other thing that I think of is like it's a fruit salad, but it's not enough. It's Kendrick Lamar. So just that integrity piece, and just I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm really cut from a unique linen, a unique line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but
it's great.
Yeah.
Well, man, from our vantage point, you absolutely are cut from a different cloth, and
thank you.
I got a ton of respect, man. Not just for your gift and your talent and your creativity, but the impact you're making on the world has always been evident, and just want you to know we see you like in real life. And we haven't ended any of our other podcasts like this, but I just feel like just the prompting to let you know like you're not alone out there. Like there's an organization here that gets it, like, and there's people here that are in the trenches in a different location, in a different way, in a different method. But man, your work is not in vain. We see you, we stand with you, we're praying for you and your wife, and all that God's doing in and through you. And we know this is just the beginning. Like you're not even at the peak of where God's gonna bring you or take you. And man, we're here. We're here.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Yes, love. Yeah. Appreciate your story, man.
Thank you.
Man, what a fire episode. Hey, for those of you watching, we hope you got something out of this. Man, we'd love to hear your thoughts as you're processing. I feel like we went all types of different angles and routes this time. Like, but man, what a fun conversation, and what a dope dude here. And until next time, for all you leaders, dreamers, and change makers out there, keep up the great work. Follow our Instagram at RescueAGen, and man, join us on this journey as we stay cut from a different cloth. We will see you next time.
Now we battle rap.
Hey,
Yo, real talk.